I have to compensate with this old phone to use 4K. It's an S10 Plus, but seriously, it's way worse at video recording than like an S22 Ultra. So, Jesus Christ. So what I'm trying to say is, see all these files and how it's called S22 Ultra? Why am I copying so many files from my phone onto my computer? Well, if you don't already know, these new phones, they don't come with micro SD cards. Yeah, unlike this phone that I'm using right now to record this video, which is an S10 Plus. It still supports micro SD cards. I currently got a 64GB one in right now. Could have gone with 32, but I mean, why not? If I film videos, I'm just gonna use 64 gigs, and you know, if I take pictures, 64 gigs of extra storage that was like a tiny amount of cash, just like a couple of bucks. Pretty much worth. But no, with new phones, this is what you have to do. Let me show you. See? Moving files. Because instead of just taking out the SD card and putting a slightly smaller one inside, and then plugging that SD card into my computer to copy all the files onto my hard drive, I instead have to not do any of that. I have to just move all the files from my phone's storage onto a USB stick via an adapter, and then put that USB stick in my computer and then onto my hard drive. Do you see the problem here? Not only does this take longer, because now I can't use my phone, I have to use a different phone, or just, you know, have to manage my time around having to not use my phone. I also have to use wireless charging. And if you don't already know, wireless charging is a lot worse than just normal cable charging. Because not only does it have to, you know, somehow get power from one coil to the other, there's also a lot of power loss. For example, with the case. But hey, why don't I just take off the case? Well, then you got the problem of those camera bumps, you know? The camera bumps on this phone are so big, and there's so many of them, that the 10x zoom lens, it just touches the wireless charging pad and doesn't go on properly, and then the wireless charging pad goes, hey, this isn't mounting correctly, I'm just gonna stop charging because I said so. It's like, why'd you stop charging? It's mostly on there. It's actually worse with the case than with that camera. Accidentally stopped recording, but whatever. But yeah, it's so stupid. They removed SD cards because they said there was no space. How about instead of having, you know, dual SIM, on one side you have SIM, and on the other you have micro SD card. Actually, hold on, man. With the shape of SD cards, look at this. Right? Look at that. SD card, and a SIM is like half this size. You can still have dual SIM and micro SD cards. Just on one side, you have both SIMs, and on the other, you have your micro SD card. It's so simple. You just do it like that. Easy win. iPhones never had micro SD cards, so I can't really say anything about them removing it. But Samsung removed it for no reason. There's plenty of space in the phone to put it, micro SD card support back. Especially because of the fact that we're gonna get better batteries soon. There's gonna be some sort of solid state lithium-ion batteries. Well, lithium-ion. I know that there's going to be solid state batteries, so it's basically just completely solid. Those batteries are apparently way better than lithium-ion. They hold a better charge and a smaller surface area, and they last longer, and they're just way better, and they don't explode randomly, and they don't swell up, I think. So you could put the same 5000 mAh battery in the phone in a smaller package, and you can easily add micro SD card back and keep dual SIM support. But no, Samsung probably won't do that. I mean, I think Sony is one of the few Android manufacturers that still have micro SD cards, and mid-range phones and older flagship phones. Even budget phones have features that some flagships just removed, like a headphone jack. Can't find it here. You know where you can find it? This old bastard. This phone is ancient. Micro USB, no Dolby Atmos, thick bezels, but hey, you still got a headphone jack. But this one also didn't have micro SD card support. Samsung was experimenting at the time with the S6. But you got a headphone jack, which is way bigger in terms of like overall surface area than a micro SD card. Like, come on, bro. It's not that hard to put a micro SD card in a phone. I don't have to do this garbage. Oh, it's heating up a bit. Like, seriously. When I had an S20, like, hold on, let me show you. Phones, devices. Oh, whoops. So, look, S20, right? I had separate folders. One where I had SD card files, and one where I had files from my phone storage. That's how I organized it. And see, look, that's a lot of storage. My SD card at the time was a 128 gigabyte SanDisk Extreme micro SD card. And the phone also had 128 gigs of storage. So an SD card essentially doubled my storage. It doubled my storage for like what, 20, 30 bucks? Instead of buying more at the start when I didn't have the money to do that? Yeah. Yeah, that's literally how it went. But no, Samsung just discontinued micro SD card support with the S21 series. And, well, completely discontinued the Note series. I look dead filming with this phone. So I have to move my light so I don't look like I died 5 years ago. Yeah, see? Crazy. Crazy how much lighting can make a difference with an old phone like this. But, yeah, so wireless charging so it doesn't die mid-transfer. It's currently at 66%. Charged, it had 58. It got 8% in an hour. An hour. How many files did it move in an hour? 32% worth of files. So that's what? Out of 120 gigs, we only moved 32%. So that's great. That's great. You know, I definitely approve this feature. You know, not having this feature. Please bring out micro SD cards back. I don't care if you bring back proprietary micro SD cards like Huawei did, you know, with their version of micro SD cards. Just bring back some form of expandable storage. Not this. This isn't it. Having something sticking out of my phone, if I drop it, it will immediately break the extra storage, or potentially the USB-C port because it's plugged in. That is not expandable storage. That is removable storage. Very different. What does this phone call a micro SD card? Expandable storage. What does it call one of these devices? USB device, and it's set, and it's the little icon is for it to be external. It's like outside of the phone, the icon it uses. The expandable storage, micro SD card. So what I'm trying to say is, it's stupid removing micro SD cards. I know it was a means of getting more money, but seriously, you could have just. It would be stupid to have this, but it would still be better to have proprietary micro SD cards than no micro SD cards. But you better not change it yearly. Like, oh look, here's a different shape of micro SD card. You can't use the last one. That'll be even worse. That'll be even worse than not having it whatsoever. Because now you gotta buy a different one every year as well, if you want extra storage. So yeah, just bring back some proper form of expandable storage. I don't care if you start using Huawei's type of expandable storage, even though it's clearly inferior to the micro SD card standard, with 1.5 terabyte SD cards already being a thing thanks to SanDisk at an affordable price. So yeah, just bring it back, man. This phone can go up to half a terabyte with extra storage. So yeah, I guess that's the video. Just bring it back. Please, just bring it back. What's the point, man?